So my name is Kris Patefield. I'm a Senior Sales Engineer for the UK. And what we're going to be talking to you today about is essentially using Liferay DXP and JavaScript NPM portlets. So what are JavaScript NPM portlets? So we now have the ability in Liferay DXP to do dynamic real-time loading of JavaScript dependencies within a single portlet or indeed multiple portlets on the page. So this is what we're going to be talking about, right? And where we're coming from is that, for me personally, this could be a marriage made in heaven, right? Because you've got a strong portal container, but you want to use the latest in cutting-edge JavaScript technology. So I think that we can all agree that the march to front-end tech is undeniable, right? So this was initiated originally by Google, Facebook, and Silicon Valley in general, and then it was embraced by startups around the globe. And you know what happens? So every time I go and see an enterprise customer in the UK, one of the questions that one of their architects will ask me will be, so how does Liferay work with Angular? How does Liferay work with React? Etc. Right? So it's something that all our customers are now thinking about, because enterprise customers, they want to be able to compete with your Googles and your Amazons, right, of this world, right? So we've got to move forward with this. So Liferay has hopefully taken a step forward. So why is front-end NPM style JS development so prevalent? Right, so knowledge, okay? Now, unfortunately, I'm kind of getting on a bit in my age, right? I'm kind of 40, right? I'm getting a little bit dusty, and you've got all these young developers that are coming through in the marketplace at the moment, right? And, you know, their kind of language of choice is not Java, right? Their development environment of choice is not Eclipse, right? They want to use, like, you know, Visual Studio Code, right? Or whatever's the latest, greatest, right? So we've got to try and bring those type of people into our remit as, you know, elderly full-stack developers, okay? And get the best out of them, right? So knowledge is key. Feel is the other one, right? Who's used Senna.js here in Liferay? Anybody seen Senna.js? Right, so Senna.js is a JavaScript package that we include with Liferay that gives the illusion, right, of a single page application. But the problem is, what's actually happening is that every portlet on the page is going through a full life cycle, right? It's going through the render phase, and every portlet's going to go through the render phase. Only then can Senna.js update the portlet of choice on the page. And by the way, when it does that, it's going to replace the entire HTML in the page within the DOM, all right? So that's a step forward from Liferay's perspective, right, that we're moving towards single-page application, but it's not a true single-page application. So if we can use React, Angular, Vue.js, right, Guinea Pig 6, right, whatever the latest framework is that these JavaScript guys want to use, we can get a feel from a user perspective like it's a native mobile application or it's a true single-page application, right? That's what we're trying to achieve. And then the other thing potentially is performance, right? So by handling the state of your applications in the front end, you're potentially putting less load on your servers, right? Therefore, you can increase performance across the product. So, you know, NPM development has huge benefits, right? But can sometimes miss the larger picture and lacks a cohesive platform, okay? Let's go back a second. All right, so what are the dangers of front-end focused development? So on one side, you've got security, right? So well-engineered single-page applications require complex server-side authentication, they require permission checking, right? They require all the things that Liferay gives you out of the box, right? So we've got a strong permission system, right? We can authenticate against multiple different third-party authentication systems. So you're going to get all that within Liferay, right? And you don't want to be doing a lot of that stuff in JavaScript. So you've also got service and persistence problems, right? So front-end applications need to persist data at some point, right? And, you know, you can get the other side of the coin, which is the new cool Java developers, right? And they all want to do microservices, right? But Liferay is already a microservices platform pretty much out of the box, right? So we can handle the persistence of state within Liferay, okay? So that the front-end developers can concentrate on what they do best, right? Making things look pretty, yeah, and making things move fast. And then we've got lack of stability of roadmap, right? So remember a second ago, I said like guinea pig 6, right? And that's because essentially the JavaScript world, everything moves at a super fast rate, right? So what was the best framework of today potentially is not the best framework of tomorrow, right? So what you need, I believe, right, is you need a company like Liferay, right, who can be looking at what the major trends are, right, who can be building templates so you can build this stuff effectively, right? Let us handle the detail on that side, yeah, and let you guys think about how to build your business case. So, as I said, huge benefits, right? But it misses the larger picture and lacks a cohesive platform. Okay, so bear with me here, right? Now, sometimes a team can be greater than the sum of its parts. So on one side, you've got this chap, right? Prince Harry, all right? Everyone put their hand to the chest, all right, like that, okay? So he's establishment, he's the royal family, he's military, he's old money, he's noble, right? He's the charity, right? And then on the other side, you've got Meghan Markle, right? And she's an actress, she's a socialite, she's a feminist, right? She's uber cool, right? You put these two people together, what do you get? The world's most famous and fabulous uber couple, right? And sometimes a collaboration can result in pure genius. Paula Abdul, right? Good dancer from the 80s, right, and early 90s, quite a good singer, and she had a few hits to her name. What happens, right? We put Paula Abdul with a cartoon cat, right? And this cartoon cat, not the best cartoon cat in the world, right? Not even in the top 10 cartoon cats. But when you put them together, you get Opposites Attract, right? Which was the first #1 worldwide hit of 1990, and arguably, I would say, the greatest pop song of the decade. So, Liferay NPM portlets combine the best of enterprise Java technology and NPM JavaScript, all right? So on one side, you've got Liferay DXP, and what are we good at, right? So we're good at portlets closely tied to the portal container. We've got our API and service layers for data persistence. We've got Java development tools for rapid microservices creation. I'm going to do that for microservices, right? Some people believe that Liferay is a microservices platform, right? It's kind of a microservices platform. It depends on your definition of microservices. You've got Java development tools as well, right? So we've got Developer Studio, right? We've got all the tools that Liferay gives you. You've got a suite of extendable APIs. That's the point of Liferay, right? So when anyone says to me, why would you buy Liferay? I always say, because it's truly 100% extendable across the board, right? You've got a service in Liferay. There are multiple ways to extend and add your own functionality. You've got Senna.js that I talked to you about earlier, named after the racing driver. You've got Portal JavaScript global object as well, right? So we give you a JavaScript object in Liferay, right, if you use Liferay theme and the page, which is essentially going to give you a lot of functionality of the portal container, okay? So you don't want to reinvent the wheel. And then if we add in React, and we put these two things together, then you've got the #1 JavaScript framework 2018, right? You've got controller, state management, virtual DOM, right? You've got a strong connection between the state of the application and the DOM that's released on the page. You've got a super fast interface experience and DOM rendering. You've got an unopinionated platform. I think this is quite, this is why the two go together quite well. Because as we know, Liferay is unopinionated as a technology, right? We want you to use third-party libraries in Liferay, right? That's the point of it. That's why we went to the microservices architecture and OSGI in the first place. And React is the same, right? Really, what React cares about is DOM, virtual DOM, controllers and state management. That's its kind of forte, all right? But you could put any other JavaScript framework in here that you wanted as well. You could put Angular, you could put Vue.js, and you'd get similar benefits. So what tools and services does Liferay give you to easily integrate NPM JavaScript libraries and platforms such as React.js to the Liferay platform? So, #1, anybody use BladeCLI? All right, BladeCLI is really, really useful, all right? So what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to use Blade templates, right? And Blade templates are capable of generating an NPM template with pre-integrated JS library of your choice in order to create a portlet, okay? It's going to do all that heavy lifting for you and create you a portlet out of the box with all your dependencies and everything you need, right? So BladeCLI is a tool that maybe a JavaScript developer could use, right, in order to generate a template for a Liferay OSGI jar, okay? You don't need to be a Java developer to do that. It's a simple command line, and we'll show you that in the demo in a minute. Okay, we've got Liferay Bundler, all right? So Liferay Bundler, similar to Webpack, all right, what it's going to do, it's going to take all your dependencies, it's going to package them up for you, and at the end of the day, it's going to push out a jar, all right? That jar is an OSGI module, an OSGI portlet module, which you're then going to drop into your Liferay build via the deploy folder, and hey presto, you're going to have a React portlet or an Angular portlet or a Vue.js portlet or whatever you fancy, okay? You've got Liferay Loader as well. So Liferay Loader is responsible for loading AMD modules in the Liferay platform, right? So it's asynchronous JavaScript dependency loading that's provided by the platform, all right? So when you install Liferay DXP, you've already got Liferay Loader there, all right? You've got the Liferay JavaScript object as well, the global object, which I talked about earlier, right? So that's going to give you page information, the ability to make service calls. It's going to do the authentication of those service calls for you, all right? Device profiling and user information is available as well, okay? And then quite new, all right, but definitely in Liferay 7.1, we've got the Clay implementation as well. And what Clay allows you to do, so you've got like a standard look and feel across Liferay, right? You want a button, right, or you want a search container, or you want something, a component on the page, and you want to make sure that it looks the same across the entire portal, right? Clay's going to give you the capability to do that, all right? So it's essentially the JavaScript creation of components, which is going to ensure common UI and styling across your application, okay? So there's reasons not just to go off and build your own JavaScript portlets of your own choice, right? But to use the tools that Liferay is giving you to achieve this. Okay, demo, right? So I've built something in React, okay? And hopefully we can demonstrate this now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I've built something using Liferay MVC, right? Which is the standard way to build portlets within Liferay, and then compare it against what I've built in React. Is that okay? Great, let's do it. Okay, so I'm just going to sign out of my demo. Always dangerous, a live demo, but I like to live dangerously. So I'm going to sign in, and I'm just going to sign in as a particular customer. So this would be test retail. Okay, and then what we're going to do is going to go to DXP Insurance Retail, which is one of the sites in this particular demo, and we'll go to your account. And then what we'll do is we'll go chat to us. So what I've built is a chatbot, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to make a call to Dialogflow, all right? So Dialogflow is essentially an AI engine owned by Google, right? And it's powering a lot of the Google voice applications that are available over the retail market. On the right-hand side, I've got Ask Ray there, all right? So Ask Ray on the right-hand side has been built using Liferay MVC, right? And therefore, we'll use Senna and the rest of that you have in Liferay. On the left, I've got React-Array, right? So what React-Array is a React implementation of the chatbot, okay? And I'm going to show you the performance difference between the two, okay? So what we want to do is we need to keep a good eye on the screen, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to Ray here, and we're going to click on this microphone button. Hopefully this works, because what it's going to do, it's going to do speech recognition, hopefully. Hello. Okay, there we go, right. So Ray, you know, he's kind of chatty. He's used natural language, okay? But did you notice there was a bit of a delay, right? A little bit of a delay. And that's because everything on that page is going to go through a render cycle, right? And as fast as Senna.js is, you're not going to get the same kind of feel from a user. Now, I can make this do kind of other stuff as well. I want to create a blog. Okay, so what's happened there is via a Liferay MVC portlet, I've called the portlet itself, right, via a MVC resource command, okay? That allows me to do an AJAX request to the portal container in order to generate me a URL. So I can now click on Open Blogs, and it should, there you go, open the blog interface for me, all right? So I'm kind of using Ray there as a kind of a helper for Liferay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and what we're going to do is we're going to use React to Ray, all right? So this is the Ray chatbot, but it's the React version, okay? And just because I'm Flash, all right, I'm also going to do a little bit of graph work down here as well, all right? Because what I want to demonstrate to you is that how fast this portlet is going to be from a user perspective. It's going to respond to me, it's going to do all the graphs, right? It's going to do all that work, okay? And it's going to be far faster than the Liferay MVC portlet. I want to create a blog. So did you see that? That's a fraction of a second, right? So I reckon that's about kind of 0.4 seconds, essentially, in order to generate the charts, to give me the link, etc., right? So this time, instead of using MVC controllers to talk to my Liferay services, I'm using the Liferay JavaScript object to call my Liferay services, right? So that's the benefit from there. Let's do it again, and let's just time it. Are you married? There we go. All right, so it's a fraction of a second. It's quick, right? So how did I actually build this? So firstly, using Blade. All right, so this is my command line, right? I can just create this Blade command, right? So what I do is I say Blade create -t. -t is for the template, and I'm using the NPM React template, okay? And we give you, for the Liferay platform, loads of different templates for building these JavaScript style portlets. And then I'm specifying a version there as well, right? So I'm specifying version 7, but obviously it could be 7.1 as well. And I'm declaring a package as well. So I'm going to call it com.liferay.kris.react.ldsf, all right? Finally, what I do is I give my portlet a class name, right, for the portlet. And I should have put a capital T there, but oh yeah, no, I've done it, L, right? So it's LDSF React, right? And that's going to build my portlet controller, okay? And then finally, what I do is I just give it a bundle name, all right? So that's what the jar is going to be called, all right? Which is just LDSF React. So when I run that, there you go. Successfully created the project LDSF React in that location, right? And what that's actually done now, if I go to my desktop, he says confidently, there you go, LDSF React, okay? So this has built everything that we need, okay, in order to build a portlet, okay? And it's easier to see this, obviously, from Liferay Developer Studio, okay? So this is my React AI chatbot, okay? And I've got my portlet class there. And notice that in the portlet class, there's pretty much nothing there, right? Literally nothing, okay? Because all the logic pretty much for this JavaScript portlet obviously is in JavaScript, right? And it's all here, right? But, you know, I'm a full stack 40-year-old developer, right? Your young people, they're not going to use this, right? What they're going to do, okay, is they're going to use this, right? So they're going to be using Visual Studio Code, right? And this is where you're essentially going to be doing most of your work, okay? And what it's actually doing behind the scenes is it's going to spit out a jar, and when it spits out that jar, okay, it's going to have all the NPM dependencies, and they're going to be packaged in such a way that Liferay's AMD loader is going to be able to recognize those modules, right, and give you a script with all the dependencies. And all this is going to exist within the OSGI container. So we're dynamically loading JavaScript dependencies at runtime, okay? Okay, so at this point in time, what do you think? Interesting? Yeah? Any questions, guys? No questions at all? No questions at all.
Question. Can you use Blade to generate Maven?
Can you use Blade to generate?
Maven with projects.
Yes, you can. Yeah, yeah. You can configure it for Maven. You can configure it for Gradle. It's fine. Yeah, either or. Okay. And there are also a load of other templates that you can use as well. Right. So it's not just these sorts of templates. Right. So we've got templates for standard MVC portlets. We've got templates for life cycle hooks. Yeah. We've got templates for Liferay Service Builder as well. All right. So Blade is a very powerful tool for essentially allowing you to create. Now, the other thing that's happening as well is that we've got, you know, Liferay Developer Studio here, okay? And I've got what's called a Liferay workspace, right? And all my modules that I'm building exist within the Liferay workspace. But the Liferay workspace, yeah, will include all your Gradle tasks, Maven if you want to, right? It will include essentially all your Blade commands, right? essentially, when you come to package all your modules up, you can package them up in a Liferay workspace and then move that workspace to another development environment, yeah? And then Blade's going to work in that development environment as well, all right? So it's a really useful tool across the board. Any more questions? Hello.
Hi.
What's your name?
Mubashi.
Mubashi, how you doing?
Very good, thanks. I was just wondering if Blade you're using as scaffolding.
Yeah.
But is this the industry standard? Can you make Yeoman do the same thing?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. So if you're building Liferay themes, for instance, yeah, then Liferay uses Yeoman, yeah, in order to build Liferay themes. Okay, so you could use the scaffolding application of your choice, essentially. Either way, it's fine. Yeah. But this is, why not use stuff that's out of the box, right? Which, are fairly easy to use.
And same for the to create the jar file. I believe you used a bundler.
Yeah. The Liferay bundler, yeah.
Okay, so the gulp won't be able to do that then?
You could configure gulp to do it, certainly, yeah. And then when you use a Liferay theme, for instance, right, we're actually using gulp, yeah, to package everything up and create a wall, right? Because Liferay themes come as walls, all right? So we're doing that already, right? So you could potentially do it, yeah.
So it's pretty flexible then.
Yeah, it's pretty flexible, yeah. Any more questions? Hello. What's your name?
I'm Rob.
Hello, Rob. You all right?
Hi.
You're not a top JavaScript developer, are you, Rob?
I'm not.
All right.
No, that's why I'm here. We're using Liferay 62 at the moment in the process of upgrading. I've done the theme at the moment it's 100% AUI, and we're looking at using clay. But there's a couple of things we want to do which might be better to do. I'm looking at jQuery UI. But I didn't want to do the whole thing in jQuery UI, I just wanted to do one little bit. As the date picker actually were quite interested in
Yeah.
this. I'm not like a React developer, suddenly wanting to use Liferay.
No, sure, yeah.
Liferay developer thinking,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind trying a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
What sort of things can
So
do for a start?
what you could do from that perspective, right? So in your theme, yeah, you can include additional dependencies, right? Dependencies for anything that you can find in NPM, essentially, right? And then via your theme, and then with your gulp build task, right, it will do exactly the same thing, right? So it's going to package those dependencies up, right? It will deploy them into the Liferay container, and then you can use Liferay Loader.require, yeah, to call pretty much anything that you want to, yeah? And what you could also do as well is you could have a portlet, right, that was just a container for additional JavaScript dependencies. And then using Liferay.loader, you could load those dependencies up whenever time you needed them, yeah? So it's quite simple to do, yeah?
Do you know if there are any examples of things like that?
What you can do is come and see me afterwards, and I'll show you an example of where I'm doing just that.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you. Oh, Millen, hello, 5 minutes. Hello, another question. Wait, I said anybody any questions, and now we've got questions going everywhere. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, and I'm Tim.
Hello, Tim. Which company are you from, Tim?
Inform.
Inform, yeah. All right.
This is great stuff, and I'm just wondering, will we be seeing JavaScript versions of the Portlets coming in future versions? So,
It's a really great question. It's a super question now. All right. So, difficult to say at the moment, right? So Liferay, have obviously, our portal container, and we're quite tied to portlets, sorry. And that's great, right? And then from the mobile side, we have Liferay screens, right? Which are kind of pre-built mobile components for iOS and for Android, right? Now, what I personally like to see, and Miller was smiling at the back there as well, right, is I'd almost like to see, I don't know what you call them, JScriptlets or something, right? I don't know what you call them, right? But essentially they would be purely JavaScript implementations of all our different portlets, right? Now, there's another thing that I've not told you, a little bit earlier on, was that Liferay also has something called Metal.js, which we include with Liferay, right? And that has a really, I won't say a strict link between Java controllers and your JavaScript layer, right? So basically, your JavaScript templates become the view layer for your Liferay portlet, right? That's a really tight integration. And I think, there's quite a few people in Liferay who are kind of on the Metal.js side, right? And they see a lot of benefit there. So I think if it does happen in future, there'll be Metal.js portlets, right? So certain applications in Liferay at the moment use Metal.js quite heavily, right? So Liferay Forms, for instance, is heavily Metal.js, right? So there's people in Liferay that want to go that way, right? There's people like me that kind of, see React maybe as the way to go, right? But we are definitely, as a company, embracing JavaScript much more heavily than we've ever done previously. Okay, so I'll just finish up my slides because there's a few more things I want to show you. Okay, so more reading. If you want more reading, you can go to my GitHub. My GitHub is ChristianP335. Don't laugh at my React JavaScript. I'm not saying that I'm a React developer, okay? But it's all available on there, so you can download this if you want to. Dev.liferay.com is available as well to get all information about the different templates and different ways of working. You've got Dialogflow, should I say, which is the AI engine, which I'm using to have the conversation with, and obviously React.js. So just to finish, right, so we've still got Paula Abdul there, right, just saying that, she's got quite a lot of form for working with cartoon-style animals. Right, she does it quite a lot. Okay, any further questions? I'm going to finish up. Good? Okay, well done. Thank you.